Welcome to Motorize.de, your go-to source for new and used spare parts. Today we're taking a close look at a real oddball, the Kawasaki AR80, a small two-stroke motorcycle that felt noticeably sportier than most people would expect in its class. We'll cover what makes the AR80 special, where it shines, which weak points you should know about, and whether it's still worth it today as a fun weekend machine, a restoration project, or even a collectible. And we won't just focus on the numbers. We'll also dig into the details that matter in real life. The electrics, oil injection, parts availability, and common mods. One signature feature you'll spot right away: many versions came with that angular, sharply 80s fuel tank and a compact cockpit that instantly screams AR. Gern, mir fehlt nur der eigentliche Text von Szene 2. Bitte kopiere den deutschen Voice-Over-Text hier hinein oder lade ihn als Datei Bild hoch. Und sag kurz, ob du eher US- oder UK-Englisch möchtest, sowie den Ton, zum Beispiel sachlich, emotional, werblich. Dann übersetze ich ihn idiomatisch und natürlich. History and Development. 150. In the late 70s, Kawasaki made a statement with the AR series. Small displacement bikes shouldn't look like mopeds. They should look like proper motorcycles. The AR80 was sold in a range of markets and gained a particularly strong following across Asia, while remaining comparatively rare in Europe. Exactly what makes it so intriguing today. From a technical standpoint, Kawasaki took cues from its larger sport models: a high-revving two-stroke single, close-ratio gearing, and an overall package tuned for agility. Depending on the version, it came with different intake systems, including Kawasaki's signature rotary valve inlet, which helped the engine spin especially freely. Visually, it was spot on for the era. Sharp, angular lines, a high tail, and depending on the model, a small fairing or headlight cowl that delivered a true mini-sport bike. Presence. Bitte sende mir den deutschen Voice-Over-Text für Szene 4, fehlt im Prompt. Wenn du mir zusätzlich kurz Zielgruppe Ton, zum Beispiel emotional, sachlich, werblich, Länge, Timing oder GGFsen ein bestehendes Glossar, Markenbegriffe, Produktnamen gibst, kann ich die Übersetzung noch passgenauer formulieren. Technical 20 to 150 words. At the heart of the Kawasaki AR80 is an air-cooled single-cylinder two-stroke with roughly 79 cc of displacement. Depending on the market and factory tuning, output typically falls in the 10 to 12 horsepower range, more than enough to make this lightweight bike feel surprisingly quick. Many versions come with a 6-speed gearbox, which is worth its weight in gold on a rev-hungry engine like this. It's easier to keep the motor in the sweet spot instead of constantly dropping out of the power band. The chassis follows a classic formula: a steel tube frame, telescopic forks up front, and twin rear shocks. Braking is often a front disc with a rear drum. One detail you'll commonly see is the stock Mikuni carburetor. Set it up properly, or the two-stroke can get temperamental fast. Gern, mir fehlt nur der eigentliche Text. Bitte füge den deutschen Voice-Over-Text für Szene 6 hier ein oder lade ihn als Datei Bild hoch. Dann übersetze ich ihn ins Englische. Idiomatisch, natürlich und ansprechend. Design and ergonomics, 150 words. The AR80 looks like a scaled-down early 80s sport bike, angular, slim, and purpose-built. The tank is tightly sculpted, the tail sits relatively high, and the overall lines are unmistakably Kawasaki. Functional, but with a sharp, confident edge. Many versions are instantly recognizable by the rectangular headlight housing and the compact instrument cluster, where the speedometer and warning lights are packed closely together. In terms of ergonomics, it's more active than comfy. Low handlebars, a narrow seat, and a slight forward lean that puts you in control. Depending on the model, the small wheels matter too. They lower the bike and give shorter riders a reassuringly stable footing. Everyday practicality comes from the upswept exhaust on many variants, adding ground clearance that really helps on rough roads or tall curbs. Gern, mir fehlt nur der eigentliche Voice-Over-Text für Szene 8. In deiner Nachricht steht nach Original nur. Bitte sende den deutschen Text oder ein Bild-Screenshot davon, dann übersetze ich ihn idiomatisch natürlich und ansprechend ins Englische. Handling and everyday use, 150 words. On the road, the Kawasaki AR80 shines thanks to its low weight and rev-happy two-stroke character. It tips into corners effortlessly, responds instantly, and on tight streets it almost feels like a bicycle with an engine, which is exactly where it's the most fun. The motor likes to be worked. Down low, it stays nicely manageable, but the real punch only comes when you rev it out cleanly and keep the gears close together. The 6-speed version really comes into its own here, because it's easier to keep the engine on the pipe. In everyday terms, that means it's in its element around town and on short back road runs. Long, wide-open stretches are less its thing. Add the usual two-stroke realities: oil, smell, and a bit more upkeep. One specific point: the Kickstarter and simple mechanics make it easy to live with, as long as the carb and ignition are properly set. Bitte sende mir den deutschen Voice-Over-Text für Szene 10, den Inhalt nach dem, dann übersetze ich ihn idiomatisch und natürlich ins Englische. Wenn es mehrere Varianten geben soll, zum Beispiel eher werblich, eher dokumentarisch, eher locker, sag kurz Bescheid.